Hi.
Hai Pa.
How's your weekend?
Uh, yeah, pretty much exhausted.
I feel the same though. How about you, Cahyo?
Yeah, I think we are feel the same way.
Yeah, well, I have
Some-
an issue with one of my team though. And because of those issue, we cannot submit the timeline on time.
Uh, yeah, would you share more, Budeno?
Well, kok jadi gua? Tadi bukannya Hendro duluan.
Duh, gak tahu, saya kan ngikutin alur aja, Bu. Habis Ibu bilang gitu.
Woi, ulangin deh, ulangin. Woi, cut.
Ya,
Aduh. Oke.
nanti
Gak
tinggal
apa-apa, Bu.
Ulangin
Biarin aja
aja.
rekam, gak
Kalau
usah cut ya.
Oh
nanti
iya
tinggal
iya
rekam aja,
enggak
tinggal
cut,
di-cut.
enggak cut, tinggal cut aja.
Ah,
I also have problem like that, Budeno, with our new Gen 4 in operation. So he's not new. He's actually already working like close to 10 years in here, but he's resigned and then join again to production team. But it's become a very little bit problem late for the first time he joined the group, especially because he doesn't have any experience right now with block caving. So I also problem like that.
Hmm.
Mm.
I think
Yeah,
I think it's good if yeah. Go ahead, Cahyo.
yeah, I think I have same problem, but my problem is more relationship because my Gen 4 is working for maybe 15 years, but I'm just joined in this company for maybe 5 years right now. But I can't build a strong relationship between me and my supervisor. So it's hard. It's hard to work. It's hard to talk, and we don't have a small talk. And yeah, that's I'm feeling in my workplace. So yeah, that's my problem. Mm.
okay, since
Maybe
I think since we all talking about version, I also
Mm.
got the same issue, but I don't know how to solve it. Uh, Probably we can discuss it together.
Yeah, I think this sounds very good though. Who gonna start first?
yeah. I think we can just use what we already learned about the different culture, yeah, from Pak Andika. I think that's
Mm.
one way we can see our our stakeholder to understand them and see what we can do to try to solve that connection or networking problem between us, between ourselves with our stakeholder. So let me show what actually we try I try to find out what exactly the gap between our relation in terms of cultural differences between my new expat and also
Mm.
with myself, especially in our team. So let me share to you guys.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's clear.
So as you can see, um, we have a new expat. We have a new expat for our GPC production under one of GPC production contractors. He is around 35 to 45 years old. He's an Australian. You can say he's a white man Australian. He has experience of 5 years in the Australian underground mine and 10 years experience in PTFI underground mine. But most of his experience is working in Alimak racing and tunnel development. So this is his first time joining block caving production, and because not so many block caving also in Australia. His education background is in high school from local Australia, but since he's working for 10 years in Indonesia, he's quite good actually in bahasa, speaking bahasa, and also he's quite smart person. Um, Personally, I see also him like kinda like he's kinda independent type of person too. let's say his name is Mr. X. So Mr. X, if I can say, if I can describe, he is a quite smart person, communicative. Of course, he's very eager to deliver his task perfectly compared to another Gen 4, another two Gen 4s that we have. And then he is communicative. He's a quite communicative person, but sometimes he's uh, often interrupts his crew working in the field, especially if there is any lineup from our team, from production team, and then that he not understandable from his point of view. So he sometimes stop it uh, because he's, for us in Freeport, we are very concerned about safety. So if he said that if he see any safety aspect that he doesn't understand, he actually stop or interrupt, and that process sometimes like he need to coming to us, um, questioning many details. Sometimes, because in the production, with all the target that we have, we sometimes doesn't have time to explain the detail, because we expect the expert that we hire, that they hired by the contractors, already understand how to do the work. So it's quite a little bit annoying for the first time we meet, like the first 1 month, 2 months, and because of the lack of experience that he have in terms of the block cave mine itself or the production, um, it it creating problems sometimes, because what we expect, like if we give him or his team lineup for next 24 hours, sometimes only 50%, 60% of those job get done. So it's quite become a problem for us, because the production targets they cannot get, or we become rushed because to fill that gap. Um, so I try to analyze the cultural difference according to the components that we already learned before with Pak Andika. And then we can see in here, I notes that we have components in the vocation, especially in the um, occupational field, whereas there is a gap between, say, Mr. X experience compared to his new role that we have right now. And then another one, the second one is the second component is class, where related to differences in education background between Mr. X itself and his user, which is myself. And then the third component is the geography, where we know related to differences of nationality between Mr. X and his user. There is a quite different between Australia and also Indonesia. Um, Using the models that we already learned, the first model I'll try to use is Hall's models. So you can see in here, Hall's model explain about high context culture and also low context culture. Um, as you can see, based on the Hall's model, Mr. X is actually low context, which means he's very clear and direct culture type. And it's vice versa with us in Indonesia, that we are come from the high context culture, which is we are not very clear in giving any expression of our emotion. And then Mr. X also has a low commitment to the relationship, but for him, task is basically more important compared to the relationship itself. So that's also become uh, one thing that need to be considered, become different in the culture. Uh, in terms of the host model for the context, time and space, he also type of people of easily distracted, because if he is not understand what exactly, or he doesn't know the process, he is quite sometimes distract from the job, because he want to feel his understanding about the job itself. The next model that I use is Lewis, as you can see in here, because he is from Australia. So based on the model, Mr. X has a type of often interrupts, and this is aligned with his character that was described in the previous slide. The third model that I use is Hofstede. Hofstede model, we can see in here uh, the individualism as Australian guy is very high compared to Indonesia, and then masculinity itself is also high, and indulgence also high. So based on the model, we can determine right now Mr. X is type of person with high individualism, meaning with he is thinking mostly about himself and less about the others. And then he also type of person with high in masculinity, which means quite proud with his success and achievement. That's why he's very eager to try to deliver his task perfectly. And then with a high indulgence culture, Mr. X also comes from the culture that wants to enjoy life more and possess a positive attitude and has a tendency toward optimism. So that's from the Hofstede model. The last model we can see or we can use is the Globes project model. As you can see in here, from the 9 components that we have in the Globes project model, there is 5 that actually become a gap where the Australia culture is a little bit high compared us Indonesia, but there's another one is also where Indonesian is high compared to Australia. But in the from the model, we can see I actually put only 3 that become my concern, where you can see in here, Mr. X is clearly has tendency to give better performance, is more feature oriented, and then more in accepts and endorse authority and power differences. So these 3 is actually the things that also I want to consider or I need to consider when I deal with his culture differences with myself. The next thing is types of conflict and the connection to certain components, culture, identity, and types of diversity. So from the model that we already see before, I try to analyze what type of conflict that potentially occur based on the culture differences model. So the first type of conflict that can be or will be occur is first is task, the task or cognitive conflict, whereas there is differences in experience that will lead to the task conflict. And then the second one is the individualism, the indulgence they have, and the low commitment to the relationship, where the task is more important than the relationship, will lead to the relationship conflict. And then the third one is the easily distract and often interrupt can lead to the process conflict, which is it can affect our operational target in the mind. And then those potential that I explained before are also linked to the components of cultural identity, such as vocation, related to the occupational field, whereas the gap between Mr. X work and then his experience compared to his new role and working area, class related to the differences in the education between Mr. X and his user, and then the geography is the difference between the nationality between Mr. X and the user itself. And then the next is the potential conflict above, also linked to certain type of this diversity. So from the conflict we can see in here, there is 2 type diversity that potentially can become occur because of the potential conflicts. The first one is desperation, as you can see in here, individualism, indulgence, low commitment to relationship, where the task is more important than the relationship, can drive different beliefs, can drive different values, can drive different opinions and attitudes, and can be lead to the interpersonal conflict, and also can reduce cohesiveness. So that's the first of the diversity that can make cure. And then the second one is the variety, whereas the difference in experience can create gaps in content expertise. So in content expertise can be lead or will lead to the task conflict itself. Um, the barriers that can be a cure or become obstacle from the conflict that we have before and also from the diversity is as follows. As you can see, first is the barriers is the lack of experience, and then the difference between educational background between Mr. X and Mr. X and in his new roles. And then second is the individualism and the low commitment to the relationship, where the task is more important than the relationship itself, are also difficult barriers that to be overcome. The third one is the language, but in here language is not become the barriers, but it becomes the advantage because he's quite able to speak bahasa. The last one that can become barrier is easily distracted, also can become potential barrier. So as you can see in here, the conflicts is become in the vocation, through occupational field, class, through educational, geography, through nationality. So what approach that personally I can address to such barriers that that I have in the operational that we have right now. So you can see from the very beginning, Mr. X is quite like independent style from what I'm seeing in the normal our daily job. So because he's independent style, it is better to apply compromising and integrating conflict management style, where from what I can thinking that there is three things that I can do. First is the language integration. Since Mr. X can speak Bahasa fluently, so to avoid any miscommunication in our work, it's better to explain the job in dual language or double language, so in Bahasa and also in English, to ensure two-ways communication built up correctly between us, including using email. So sometimes the email, even though I put in English, I also put in Bahasa, so he and also his team can understand what exactly we want in the lineup. And then the second one is conflict management style using compromising, also can be addressed to fill the gap between the experience or his experience and also the user experience. Uh, I can spend more time to explain him more about the job, about the block covering process, or go to the field with him together and explain what we want in the field. So that's I think another thing we can do. So with this way, I can also manage the potential conflict from Mr. X differences related to often interrupts. So when he already start understand what I want from him to do in the field, what control, what result, I guess he will be. I predict he will be of his often interrupts type will be reduced because he will understand what his job and what want from him. And then the third one or the last one is to feel the easy to destruct barriers by compromising style uh, in the work. So usually I keep reminding him. Sometimes even though I already send the lineup, if he's on night shift, I call to the office or I text him using WhatsApp, so he will be remind with the target or the job that need to be done on that day. So this is I think that I can share to you guys all about the interculture, which is I think is quite applicable for what I face in the field. Thank you.
It's a nice presentation, Pak Endro.
Thank you,
Very
Pak.
good. Okay. Bu Denok,
Bu Denok belum.
Oh, okay, because sorry. Yeah, looks like you already implement all the theory that you get from school to analysis your counterpart, Hendro.
Yeah, seems like that, Bu. Hopefully that will be good for me and for my
Yeah.
counterpart also.
Yeah, it's very good to learn something. Yeah.
How about you, Chayo?
Sorry?
How about you? You said you have also different with your team.
Yeah, same with you, but I different because in my case is he's an Indonesian also, so the problem is more like maybe I can share with you.
Yeah.
I
Let's
already
see. Let's
make
see. It's also good.
yeah, I already make a simple analysis for my supervisor. So wait. Hmm. Uh, Let me set up right here. Can you see my presentation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you
It
can
is
put a slideshow. Put slideshow.
all right. Yeah. All right.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
All right. Yes. So This is my problem that I said it earlier. So maybe I explain it again. So in my section, I work alongside 3 engineers and a supervisor. But unfortunately, I struggle to establish a close relationship with my supervisor. So in here, I feel like I'm lonely in our department because he is more what it's called, so more friendly to my other colleague. But with me, he is only focused on the job and talks about the job, and everything is about the job. In here also, I wanna talk to you about our different component of culture identity because uh, I think it's more vocation because he is my supervisor and then he working in the company for 25 years. It's so long, yeah. And my other colleagues maybe around 15 years, yeah. And then me just only I just only joined for 15 years right now. So from the house model, just like you, Pahendra, I try to what type of this person or my supervisor. So in the house model, I see that my supervisor is focused and then they concentrate on the job at hand. So if he give me a job and then I want to ask him, I must wait until he is his hand is off from the laptop so I can talk. So it's kind of make me, oh, why cannot I speak directly, right? So yeah, that's my problem right now. And then, uh, sorry, yeah. So I try to analyze this person or my supervisor on the Lewis model. I see his linear active cultural, which is value directness, efficiency, and job-oriented communication. So if he give me a job or assignment for the task and everything, he told what it called not detail in the explanation, but uh, kind of okay, directly, this is your job and you do this, and then all right, if I asking here for a detail, not quite detail, but yeah. So linear active cultural, so no small talk or having conversation other than work because he is a job-oriented communication. So in this our office, he just only talk for this job. If no anything issue about the jobs, then there is no communication other than jobs. Yeah, it's like it's quite not a comfortable place to work in. That's what I feel. So I try to understand him more uh, from his cultural. So here from the problem that I mentioned before, and then the type of my supervisor, I see his because the lack of interaction between me and my supervisor lead to emotional conflict because I'm not incompatible in these terms. So I feel here is emotional conflict, and then there is a separation because yeah, I feel I'm lonely, and then there is my colleague, there is my supervisor, so I feel that separation. So and then the distrust. Okay, so I have uh, another issue on my supervisor. So beside there is no or maybe lack communication. So There are distract from my supervisor to give me a more job, just like he gave my colleague a big job, but he just gave me a small job and then easy task, and then yeah, that's kind of boring job I feel, because I think I can do more, but he distrusts distrust. There is a distrust that lead to task conflict, where I what I mentioned before. So from the uh, from the task conflict, I feel there are variety that lead to the task conflict, because our functional background is different, and then the expertise maybe he need me to maybe learn more, uh, just like that. So the connection between this conflict is linked to a vocational job for a job category, where our position is level is different, because he is my supervisor, and then I'm just a new hire, or maybe a freshman in the room. And then the differences between the service in the company also, yeah. And then I see this there are barriers for me to more approaching my supervisor to more relationship, or maybe try to talk and gain some more relationship more close, is a daily work distance, because I tend to work in the field, and then my supervisor is stay in the office, because if there is a job he gives me, and then I go to the field all day, and then it's time to go home. I back to office and then prepare for go back home. So it's a long day, and then we don't meet face to face. So uh, I try to build a communication. It's hard, because while we in the same room, we can talk each other, but the more we have a distance, the more we can build a relationship. So, and then the open communication, because my supervisor is linear active cultural style, is hard to use a regular communication approach. What I mean is regular communication approach is just like yeah, small talk, just like that. And then for the managing conflict, I try to make the analysis from what I say before, from the slide to slide. So the distant barriers, I can use the email more often to update the progress, and then to open communication, because my supervisor is linear active style, so job-oriented communication. It's hard to use the regular communication approach. So if I want to make a relationship, and then I try to make a communication, right, sir, this job is complete, the job is in progress, and everything about the job process, because I feel he is more attractive if I send it, or text him, or call him, talk about the job. So, and then building trust, and then the managing conflict. For the second point is building trust through the task. So I try to follow his job that he gives to me, and then give the best of me, and then keeping update. I think if I do this slow but sure, he will understand me, and then he will trust me with the job that he give me, and then I think that's good for the growth, for the relationship between me and my supervisor. I think that's all. That's my problem. But
It's quite complicated, yeah.
yes, it's quite complicated, right?
It's pretty hard
Have-
to.
Yeah.
Chayo
But
question. Can we
Yes,
do the
yes, we
question
done
in
it.
here, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
30
Yes,
minutes
yes,
only.
Have you asked personally your supervisor, like come on, but I feel that I do enough learning about this, and I wanted to have, more exposure. Would you give me the project that is, enrich my knowledge? Did you ever talk to him about that? I'm just curious.
Right. So I already talked several time, a couple of time. I talked to him because I try to when he give me an easy task, I try to finish it as soon as possible. So I come to him again and then ask, the job is done. What else?
Mm-hmm.
I want to show him and not speak directly about this about I capable of doing more, but I show him the job is done early than the target, and then I ask what else. That's I want to show him about my capability on this team. So yeah, maybe I should talk directly, but I
Okay,
don't
and
know
then
yet.
sorry, another question. Okay, so
Yes,
when
yes,
when you
please,
tell him
William.
that I'm finished, boss, do you have another ask that I should do? What is his response?
All right. So his response. All right. Just wait. He's preparing for the new task, and then all right. So while I'm waiting, it's kind of boring because I don't know what to do next. So I just go to the field and check everything,
Yeah.
anything else
So
that I can
so
do.
just keep
So
just keep away.
yes,
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Maybe I don't know. Yeah,
That's
maybe when you have like spare time and you see your boss is busy, maybe sometime you can come to him and then, is there anything I can do to help you? Something like that. Maybe it will help.
Yeah.
Maybe make coffee
Espe
and then make two
yeah,
Yeah.
coffee and then
especially
you
No,
can
no
start doing
coffee lah.
coffee.
oh
yeah,
You
especially
hire not to make coffee,
because we
but
are Indonesian, we are more connect people.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, your supervisor will understand that. It's different between
Hopefully.
I have a similar it's not kind of supervisor, but it's more different supervisor. It's foreign supervisor. So yeah, I think I can share something here also.
Yes, please, Winston.
So I have a, where is that? Okay. So can you see my slide now?
Loading. Still loading.
It's loading now. All right.
Okay, you can see it.
Okay. So I have a partner. It's more like my boss also from the US, where we working at the American company. So yeah, he's kind of like not my boss, but he's got a little bit upper position than me. But well, it's kind of stressful, like you said. I have to like do more to gain his trust. Uh, uh, and well, I never realized it until I learned about this intercultural communications. So kind of just checking out on the language models. I see that, well, he's from US and I'm from Indonesia. So yeah, we are more reactive people. And as for expatriate from United States, they are more active. They are more linear active one. So that's is a huge difference. So I never understand that. And then, well, I think that people opinion matters from my background, but well, the truth is from my partners, well, he's just concerned about getting things done. So yeah, it's gonna be difference between us. And then if we're looking on the Hofstede models, I see a lot of difference between our culture. Like for example, power distance. He always like he doesn't have any power distance, so he can talk to any boss as more he wants. Meanwhile, I have to like think about it before I talk to my boss. I have to calculate it, and well, he is focused on himself. For individualism is very high. I'm very low, and his masculinity also high. And his it doesn't care. It doesn't really care about long-term orientations. Meanwhile, I from the more eastern part of the world is well, we care about long-term. We care about what we can do for the future, and indulgence, of course. So yeah, it's kind of like very huge difference, and I never understand that. And well, he always I thought that he was challenging me because he always go above my supervisors and then just walk to my boss, talk to my boss, and then I'm just becoming. I feel that I don't even exist. So yeah, it's kind of big frustrated situation because well, yeah, you kind of have to do more to gain the trust. So yeah, that's kind of conflict that I have because I'm really worried about my credibility in front of my supervisor because yeah, well, we Eastern we tend to care about what other people think about us. Okay, so and then I think because of this interactions, I kind of think that there's going to be status conflict that will lead to relational conflict because well, I cannot tolerate what he's doing, but for him it's normal, but I cannot because well, uh, I don't well, we grew up in a different world, so yeah, uh, I don't understand, and then that could lead to a relationship conflict between also because well, for just for the truth, I can hate him because well, he going behind my back, and then well, after I understand that well, there is a geographic difference between both of us, and then the vocation, the occupational field we are into, and then also the language. Uh, it's kind of hard to maintain a good communications between both of us, and well, that could lead to I think that would lead to separation and disparity because well, uh, we tends to have different. We cannot be blend together. It's good to have parity, but yeah, it's kind of hard to. Well, it's like kind of like Earth and the sky. It's kind of big jump, but uh, I think what I can learn is I can try to work things out. So this is why what I see about those how to uh, how to work with the different cultural background is compromising because well, both in the independent and interdependent culture, we can both work in the integrating and the compromising areas. So yeah, I kind of like uh, talked to him previously and tried to build communication like we Eastern do. I want to explain my concern to him also because I think that I think if he understand, then he will not be much of a there will be no miscommunication. But again, there is a barrier also between us. For example, we have a different language. If I don't use the correct word, and it's going to be misinterpretations, and well, if we are interacting in the social with the digital communications, it's going to be hard for like WhatsApp or like Teams meeting like this, it's gonna be hard to explain what I meant, and I don't meant something that very hard to him. So yeah, it's also I kind of like don't doesn't recognize how the social class of in his it's gonna be quite difficult. But yeah, I think if we are working still around the integrating and compromising area, and I think it should be fine. I think that's from me. Uh, Regarding to Chayo, I know Chayo is gonna be hard because both of you are Indonesian. How about Bu? How about anyone else? Because I think Pahendro is explaining about me and expat also, and I think Chahyo is most complicated one because it's in the same. How about you, Budeno?
Well, I would say that listening to you guys, story, it make me feel that I should do some improvement also for myself. Hendro smile for that part. So I see how the Chahyo struggle with his supervisor, and then try to get closer with his supervisor is part of the cultural difference. Well, I think my case is the opposite of the Chahyo. So this make the discussion is more interesting even. So yeah, let me share what I'm facing too. So maybe after this, Chahyo and me, we can gather along and can have the best way to discuss how to deal with this kind of the supervisor. Okay, so
Yeah.
Hendra like smiling to me. He keeps smiling to me all the time. Okay, so my issue is that I'm newly assigned to this team basically, and then prior me, there are the team leader who are a female and lead this team for the 10 year before he retired. And one of my team, let's call him like Mr. Egg. He is the Japanese, is calm person. He's like repetitive job. He is so polite. He dislike surprise or ad hoc job, and then he is well educated. However, in the term of age, we have like huge gap age between him and me. And then one day my team get what we call like assignment that we need to deliver some tasks that need to be done within the 3 day. So I gathering my team member and explain each of them what is the task and what they should do and when to be submitted, including Mr. 8. And then end of the day, I tell my team, please submit on time. If you have any difficulty, you can come to my office at any time to discuss with me. And then on the due date, every my team member is basically submitted the task except Mr. X. So I wonder why he didn't submit his task. And I asked him, why you not submitted yet? He explained to me that he has difficulty to finish his assignment. He wanna talk to me, but my door is always closed. Further, he explained that if the previous leader closed the door, meaning he don't want to be interrupted. So because he see my door closed, he assumed that the style of mine is the same with the one with his boss. So he don't want to interrupt me. That's what he said to me. And then so he thought that I will, and then the other he explained further that a previous leader normally would reach out the team like every day and ask the team, what is your progress, what do you have done, is there any difficulty or not. So he thought that my approach will be the same with the previous leader approach. So since I didn't reach him and ask him for the progress or issue he is voicing on, so before do that, so he assumed that this is not urgent. That's what he said to me. And then at the end of the day, I said to him that I will not ask every minute of my team what they did, because I consider, they know what they do and they always come to me if they're facing the issue. So I assume that if you not come to me, meaning that you don't have the issue. So as the result, because of his late submission, then we are unable to submit the timeline on time. So again, so I try to make the analysis of the Mr. Egg. Again, from the culture identity, I see that from the identity element that we have maybe have a different in the vocation, in which me and him may have different in professional background that make us has the different issue on that. And then the potential conflict could be also come from the biological trial, in which Mr. X is more senior compare me or compare the supervisor. So he expect the supervisor to come him first. Like I will talk to you why he did that. Maybe it's because of he is Indonesian, so the seniority is become matter. And then gender may also drive the conflict, as his Mr. X previous supervisor is male and now his supervisor is female. For some Japanese people, sometimes it's not convenient to be led by the female. That's also make him reluctant to come to his office supervisor to ask something. And then if I'm looking from the host model, I try the way I see it is that Mr. X is has more high content culture. Why? Because he used the non-verbal communication, like he used that if his supervisor door is closed, meaning that the supervisor don't want to be interrupted. But but again, it's not applied to everyone. But he used those kind of sign to use that as his reference. And then he is the person that have the high commitment in the long term relationship. Maybe because of his close relationship with previous leader, it's make him, like this one is the new person, so he reluctant to approach with this person. I think he gonna put the what we call the relationship first above the task. And then the time open and flexible. Again, uh, looks like that he think that the job is urgent, so he delaying that because maybe he have some difficulty, and but because of his supervisor never come to ask his progress, so he consider it is not an urgent. Unfortunately, from her supervisor style, the communication is low contact. I think the supervisor is more focused on the job oriented, explain the message that is clear, and then low commitment relationship. So that's the way, I think, that's make why the communication issue occur between Mr. Egg and his supervisor. And then if we see from the Lewis culture model, we can see that Mr. Egg has a typical of polite and indirect. Every time he wanted to ask something, he like cannot say directly. He gonna take a look the surrounding, and then he gonna wait it whether wanted to talk or not. And then concealing the feeling is also the way I see from the Mr. Egg. He listen most of the time, but when he has something to ask, he like holding back and never ask direct in the forum. And then he is more the person who connect to the social and professional. It's more like the most of Indonesian culture. That's the way I see it. uh, and then if we see from the conflict, the type of the diversity from the communication, I would consider the diversity among Mr. X cases is the interpersonal conflict, but also I can see that this is the task conflict type. Why? The conflict occur during the workplace, a disagreement over what is the best way to do work tasks to meet the goal. Mr. X has the opinion that the best way should be A, but the supervisor think that the best way to do this is B. So that's and then again, what we call, there are like engagement of the Mr. Egg to the previous supervisor. Why he act like that? Because he used to be walk like that way, while this new supervisor have a different way to walk. The conflict are also driven because of different value and belief. As again, he close with the supervisor, and he keep revering everything to the previous supervisor. So that's the way I see it. So from the perspective, if I observe Mr. 8, the type of diversity could be linked to the interpersonal conflict because the different of opinion, belief, and value. But the other side are also considered as diversity of the variety, as maybe they have the different background also. So so that's why the conflict is occur. And the barrier that I can see here is that Mr. Egg used to walk that process focused and passive. Need to change as his supervisor result oriented and a focused task. We need to increase the ability to adopt the change will be help on the Mr. H. And then also different gap, because they have the different age could be the barrier. When we talk to someone that is have quite gap of the year, sometimes we talk. So Mr. X may be someone that is like someone that, because I'm older than you should talk politely, you should say hi first, those kind of thing. But the supervisor, maybe because of he is young, he think that everyone the same regardless the age, so she treated the same. That's so I'll say the different gap, and also the way of the communication could be the barrier. How to managing the conflict? Well, as Mr. Egg, from the view of Mr. Egg, the way I said that Mr. Egg need to be more active and adjust with the new culture. He cannot assume that whatever his previous experience, whatever he did in the past, can be implement the same thing with in the different culture. And the input also for her supervisor is that as the newcomer, he has been the supervisor has to be, should be more emphasis the importance of active listening. He should more have more what we call empathy. He should have more culture sensitive to able to building the collaborative relationship. So the approach and that should do to resolve the conflict is the integration approach, because if I see is the concern for self is high, and also the concern for other is also high. Digital communication is rather difficult to implement digital communication in this kind of cases. However, the way how the digital communication can help in this situation is that maybe Mr. A can do the ways up to the supervisor. If you find something difficulty, you don't have to wait up until come to the office. You can ask your supervisor anytime without you have to come to the office. And then Mr. Egg, and then maybe it's not to the Mr. Egg, but also for the supervisor, maybe he can implement like the online reporting. So to check whether how is the progress of the team, so that it can eliminate the barrier and preventive at the beginning. Because if we see that the supervisor is more on the result oriented, but Mr. X still on the process oriented. Sometimes when you are focusing to the process, you forget about the result. So it's make, the due you pass the due date. So how to make the better communication between them in digital communication? Well, I think it's difficult, like what Winston said, but it can be helped if the barrier because of, he is afraid to come to the supervisor office, then you can use the technology to do it. But if the barrier of because of the different value and the belief, then I think the both of them need to sit together and listening what they want and make the agreement on it. That's
Yeah.
that's the way I see it.
Yeah, that's an interesting
Very
point.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I feel like the opposite of Cahyo.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand the question
Yes.
now.
Now you understand why I said
Yeah.
Hendro
Yeah.
keep smiling on
Yeah.
Yes.
that.
That's why.
Okay.
That's why we did not ask for ask me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
to know
Yeah.
because
Yeah. There are
you know
So
two side
interesting.
of story. Two side of
two
story.
side of story,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe
Yeah.
Cahyo,
Yeah.
you need to make a coffee and then start talk to your supervisor, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Do it the Eastern way, but not the
Yeah.
Western. That not more Western
Yeah,
Mm.
I
style.
think
Yeah.
your supervisor is more to the Eastern way rather than
Yeah.
Mm.
Western.
Yes.
Mm.
But in
Mm.
Budenok, the supervisor is more Western way than the Eastern.
Yeah, even though he is Indonesian. Oh no.
Yeah.
Ibu Deno Eastern way, not Western
Yeah.
way.
Western way.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
my color, my skin of color. This is nice
Yeah.
discussion though, Tim. I'm feel very, get many insight listening of the cases that we has. And I'm happy to having the cultural class that is teach by Pa Andika because it's teach me a lot on how we can, you know, improve our communication skill to,
Yeah.
of course, to increase our career or, or,
Yeah.
or, or to have a better relationship with somebody else.
Yeah.
Ibu Deno.
Yes, and
Okay.
also we
Hopefully we
can
can get A2.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
1 hour and 54 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Thank you,
Okay,
guys.
guys.
Thank you, Pak
See
Andika.
you.
All
Thank you,
Yes.
right.
Thank
Hopefully this will
you.
Pandika.
be
Thank you.
this
Thank
will
you
be
very
a
much.
good result for you
Okay.
and
Pak
for us too.
Winston.
Bye all.